Alright, also look, welcome back to the channel, and guess what? It's UFC 300 Fight Week, and in today's video, we're gonna be breaking down and analyzing one of the fights on UFC 300's main card, that being Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help me reach 1,000 subscribers out by May. I'll deeply appreciate you. And make sure you join the official UFC Discord, link in the description. Alright, so look, it's UFC 300 Fight Week, and what better time to talk about Charles do Bronx than now, right? Especially with his upcoming bout with Arman Tsarukyan happening later this week. And so, in this video, I'm going to be taking a deep dive and using my big brain Tunisian skills to analyze and break down how this fight particularly plays out, from their weaknesses and strengths, and what most likely can take place during this fight. And so, without further ado, let's get right on to the video. So first things first, I actually find it insanely astonishing how much of a favorite Arman Tsarukyan is in this upcoming bout. As of the time of this recording, Forbes have Arman Tsarukyan listed as a negative 228 favorite, while Charles do Bronx stands at a plus 181 underdog. Insane. And in my view, this seems to be insanely unreasonable, and I believe that it should be a more evenly matched fight. Admittedly, both fighters are top tier in the UFC lightweight division, so anything can happen, but Charles, the underdog? Come on, yo. You must have forgotten who this man really and truly is. And don't get me wrong, Arman Tsarukyan is one of the best of the best. An elite level mixed martial artist with versatility across the board, insanely explosive athletic ability, not to mention his slept on ground game. But I just think that Charles do Bronx is going to be too much for him in the long run when we're putting both of these guys up against each other in a 1v1 brawl. And I just honestly feel like every time we see Charles do Bronx enter an octagon, we hear the same stuff over and over from everybody named mama, whether it's MMA fans, analysts, or even freaking YouTubers, saying the same stuff like, oh, Charles do Bronx is gonna get chinned, he's gonna be playing possum, oh, the champ has a name and it's Islam Makhachev. I'm telling y'all, it's the same stuff over and over and over again. You see what happened to Dustin Soyboy? What about Ducklip Gaethje? Chandler? Dariush? Oh, they either got flatlined or choked out and left for dead, unconscious. And this just goes to show over and over and over again that we just gotta stop counting Charles do Bronx out, but that's besides the point. It's time for the breakdown and analysis. Primarily, I believe that the crucial factor in this fight will 1000% be the stand-up combat. Whoever can constantly and efficiently utilize their striking will likely gain a significant advantage or even secure that win. However, the path I see for do Bronx in order for him to secure this inevitable dub is simple. He just needs these three things: accuracy, timing, and correct range establishment. Because look, if we're looking at the most glaring depictions of him failing to do those three things I just previously listed, we're gonna have to bring up his fight with Islam Makhachev. It's completely obvious that the entire reason why Charles do Bronx got exposed and dropped badly by Islam in their initial fight is because he threw an unnecessary flying knee that he thought would be able to make a connection to Islam, but it didn't, and he ended up getting exposed for it. And if you ask me, I think that the prime factor on why that was is because of Charles's inability to find the range during a bout, as well as his weird type of shot selection. Because why would you throw a flying knee? You know what? I digress. Shot selection and range placement are going to be Charles's bread and butter during this bout. That's why I think it's insanely imperative for him to try to establish that, in the beginning of the fight while they're on the feet, because every fight starts on the feet. Additionally, he should leverage his footwork, with the teeps, the body shots, the head kicks, try to fuck with Arman a little bit. Despite the concerns of his aggressive fight style, I believe that it could work in his favor against Arman, who hasn't faced anyone with Charles' skill set. Look, I know a lot of people, a lot of the MMA community might advise against Charles's type of, forward type of explosive pressure on the feet, because it's almost spelled doom for Charles on numerous occasions before. But I think that it's super important and imperative for him to use that against Arman, because, in Arman Tsarukyan's UFC, all of UFC fights, I think he hasn't fought anyone with this type of style and this type of, pressure and volume that Charles Oliveira brings to the table. And taking into consideration Charles's height and size advantage over Arman, I think it's plausible that he could overpower him with relentless pressure and volume. Though Arman's kicking game is insanely underrated, but I feel like he can get exploited if not careful. Now, moving on to the ground game and being completely honest and entirely upfront, I think if Arman Tsarukyan tries to take Charles do Bronx down in the center of the octagon, then he 1000% just screwed himself on live worldwide television for everyone to see on the biggest MMA event to date. Chalres do Bronx is one of, if not the best, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the UFC, hands down, and could probably submit Arman on his back, or even if he tries to reverse him and take him down in the middle of the octagon. But look, it doesn't even matter if it's in the middle of the octagon, because it's just an outright insanely bad idea for Arman Tsarukyan to try to take this to the ground, period. Because at the end of the day, this is Charles Oliveira we're talking about, Charles do Bronx. And let's say you manage to get Charles Oliveira on his back. You think he's not going to just keep spamming those submission attempts over and over and over again like his life depends on it until he finds one? But granted, Arman Tsarukyan does have pretty underrated and lethal ground and pound, so pulling guard is definitely risky on Charles Oliveira's part. But at the same time, Charles do Bronx is just going to keep constantly throwing those punches and those elbows while he's on bottom as well. So there's a lot of offensive counters Charles do Bronx has in the bag that he can just take out anytime he wants against Arman if, Arman magically loses his mind and is crazy enough to take this to the ground with Charles do Bronx. And look, don't get me wrong, Arman Tsarukyan has an elite level ground game, but at the same time, I think with Charles Oliveira's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu pedigree, as well as that constant level of a submission threat that he brings to the table, he's most likely going to have the advantage on the ground. But like I said in the beginning of the video, I think that this fight is number one, most likely going to stay on the feet for the majority of the time. And number two, I think Charles do Bronx has a clear-cut advantage when it comes to the stand-up, and it's probably his best likelihood in order to secure that win. All he's got to do is remember the 3 key details I mentioned before in the video, that being accuracy, timing, and correct shot placement, because it'd be a damn shame to see him not follow the 3 key details and throw a freaking flying knee from left field just to get exposed like he did against Islam Makhachev. But realistically speaking, with Charles do Bronx's forward pressure, volume, and underratedly elite level of a striking and kicking game on the feet, he's gonna put Arman Tsarukyan out cold badly on the feet to inevitably make him his son and snag that win for UFC 300. But let me know what y'all think of the analysis and the breakdown, as well as the Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan fight down below in the comment section. That about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.